Hey guys, how's it going? It is Kyra here with another Awaken KSR video, and in today's video, I'm going to be doing a little fun one here. So I'm going to be talking about the epic hero on max of each faction. I get one choice of epic for each faction. Let's get into it. So we're going to be starting with the Holy Light Empire, and this is a little tough. So you're going to notice the theme. I'm going to be focusing on the first character I would max here of this faction, because I think the obvious choice is William, but he's so tanky that you could, and he's mainly just about what he brings to the other people of his team. So you don't need to max this guy. A lot of people just keep him at 50 for a very long time. So the first character I would max out of this faction, I was debating between Thomas and Jacob, and I'm a big fan of Jacob, especially if you can get him fully ascended or almost fully ascended once you get him to ascend 5. But a lot of his value actually comes not even needing that. So he does get the permanent invisibility here, and it looks like a really big deal. And for the most part, especially in hard Void Tower, I would say it is. If it ever rotates back to a Void Tower where the same Void Tower that happened where you couldn't stun people, they removed the stun. There was a lot of really hard to kill people in there, and it took a lot of turns. You could grind them out if they didn't have a way of healing, and Jacob was a really good solution for that. You put a ton of tanky characters out there, and you put him in the guaranteed invisibility, and you never had to worry about him getting targeted. Eventually, he'll ramp up and kill everyone. But for a lot of other content, the invisibility doesn't matter. Something that's actually kind of frustrating to deal with, which is thing to get the green ability mats. Take down that guy's shield. It takes a lot of extra turns in a particular round, and so he's a nice way to do it. Plus, he's an extra affinity there. It's really annoying farming green characters. It's more about a time thing, whether or not actually be able to beat it. Also, he's really good. He's probably one of the hardest hitting characters you could possibly get for the guild boss when he has type advantage. So definitely consider looking into Jacob, even if you can't get him fully ascended. I'm a big fan of him, and I'm noticing a lot of the content I actually use him in, I don't need the full 5 ascend for him. So he'd probably be my first choice of maxing, like fully maxing a hero out of the Holy Light Empire. Next faction. So we got a couple choices here. I think this is a pretty clear cut. Aurak is by far the best one here. Really good nuker. You're really going to want to focus on this guy for content that is quick. So dungeons, for example, Tulpa is going to be, this is probably one of your best choices here. He also doubles down as a good character for the guild boss. Noticing there's a lot of people that out damage him over time. Jacob totally does. The new hero in Gorel totally does. You get a lot of really good value here for an epic hero. Mainly it's this here. It removes all positive effects from the target and deals 200% damage. I really like the removing all positive effects. So you could even throw him in arena if you want to, if you need to clear out some positive effects and try to kill Mathasia, for example. Void Tower, he's going to be pretty clutch too. You know, Mathasias are going to be a big one here where you're going to want to use him to be able to nuke them, but there's other green heroes that you could really take advantage of that, and he also has damage scaling off max health. That's why he's so good in Tulpa. So also damage dealer. A lot of these are going to be focusing the damage dealer because you really want to max them. It's really hard to get by with a level 50 damage dealer. It's just not going to happen. If you're going to focus and pick a damage dealer, you want to be taking them all the way up. It's the tanks and the support heroes that you could kind of get by with at level 50. And so probably the next one I would level up in this faction, if I had to choose a number 2, would be this guy. I don't have him yet. He's the only epic I don't have, but I've been seeing him used a lot against Gemini Dragon. So until I pull him, I'm not going to really talk about him too much, but he would be the next epic I would pick here as well. And also I have pulled Sylvan, and she's one of the newer heroes, so it'd be fun to actually max her and try her out, but I don't have much experience with her yet. Okay, next we got Lasir here. A couple good heroes here. We have actually probably the only one at this point I wouldn't consider maxing is going to be Kyle. But the one, I think the safe choice here out of this is going to be Marion Shadowblood. For the most part, she's used in the Ash Dungeon, and there's not many heroes that can actually be used there. Reason why she's good, all of her moves scale off true damage based on the character's max health. The tankier the character, or the bigger, like a boss style character, or if you're looking at Void Tower with a lot of big health pools, this is where she's going to really start to shine. I think she's going to scale really well into later content that doesn't exist yet, because they're probably going to have a lot more health than they do now. So this is going to be a character that's not only good now, but probably going to scale well on into the future as going to be a really good hero. So you have the 100% damage to all enemies, but the main part is going to be the 8% of the target's max health for the ultimate. And then this really cool buff that no other character has, where Unholy Redemption, so 50% damage reduction and 40% lifesteal, and it lasts for 2 turns. But you have a character that looks pretty squishy based on base stats, but depending on the map, if you're trying to get them out quickly and you're not going to be doing that many rounds, you'd actually be deceptively tanky, because for the majority of the battle, you're going to have this 50% damage reduction. So pretty cool there. She can remove negative effects off herself. Pretty useful, especially in Ash. If you get randomly the bomb goes onto her, you can't really direct it towards her, so it's hard to use that as a benefit, but at the same time it's nice to be able to have that effect. Her auto attack actually does a true damage of 3% of the target's max health, and then you have this RNG component, so it's hard to really rely on this, but grants this character a 30% chance of launching a joint attack alongside the attack of an ally. And then it also triggers off speed if you get her ascended, which is tough because she is a dark character, so she's significantly more rare than most epics. But this would be my choice as a person to max from this faction. But I think Vance is one that I think is very good. I wouldn't be surprised if people picked him. And also Scarlet is another good choice as well. Next, I think this one's pretty much a no-brainer. It's between Andre and Santis. Santis is going to be the go-to. This is probably one of the most useful characters. After you get out of that early phase of the campaign, probably one of the most useful characters in the entire game for being able to beat bosses. And it's mainly because she applies poisons, and poisons are just so good at being able to beat these bosses. So luckily she has good base stats, so high speed, high health, and B tier defense makes her very easy to gear. The only thing you really got to put on her is enough focus and survivability. The speed's pretty much going to sort itself out. You want her to go fast. Auto attack is going to apply poison. Her ult is going to extend those poisons, but mainly it's this passive here where attacks against enemies affected by poison have a 50% chance to apply additional poison for 2 turns. So especially if you ever ascended, it is a 5 ascend, so it's hard to get. She is fusible, so eventually you can kind of work that out, but she's still good even with the coin flip of being able to apply an extra poison when they already have a poison. So this is going to be one of your most important characters for all accounts, regardless of how much you spend. Definitely try to get her maxed ASAP. And next here, so pretty much we're in the running of the 2 main heroes of this faction. For epics, well, actually there's a lot. I didn't see the second row. So we got Celestial Kane, Windrex. We also have Virgil. Melissa is actually a really good nuker. I think the go-to out of this faction, there's also Lunar Melissa is really good, but I think Antonua is going to be the choice as the best character. If I had to choose one, I'm choosing her to be the one I would fully max out of this faction, because a lot of these you could get by at level 50. So pretty much all these characters I just listed except Melissa and Antonua are going to be good at 50 because they're all just supportive initiators or supportive buffers, stuff like that. Or in his case, he's just making everyone invincible or he's cleansing. So one I would actually max is going to be Antonua here. You get a really good single target damage dealer, but not only is she good at burst, sustained damage, because she's constantly giving herself multiple attacks. You combine her with a curse set. It's probably going to be your best choice here to get constant bonus attacks on her auto here and give herself, so 100% damage to the enemy if this character has Unicorn's Blessing, then launches a bonus basic ability against the target. Her ultimate here, cool thing about Unicorn's Blessing is this buff when attacking deals 30% bonus damage. So that's a big difference in how much damage she actually does. You want to definitely hit before they go, because you don't want this Unicorn's Blessing to get wasted by the reduces damage taken by 30%. You don't want that at all. She's so squishy that it doesn't matter how much damage she reduces, she's going to take a ton of damage. You want to kill them first. And in turn, you use this as an offensive buff, not a defensive buff. So whenever it's used, it removes the effects upon taking damage. You can ult, deals 200% damage to an enemy. If this character has Unicorn's Blessing, then grants a bonus turn. Then she has her special here, deals 150% damage to an enemy and grants Unicorn's Blessing to this character. So it's kind of good synergy there where she has it in the beginning with her passive, uses it, does a big nuke, gets to go again, and then reapplies it as well. So as long as you don't get hit there, you'll be able to do another big hit even with her auto attack. So it's really cool. Also being able to constantly get bonus attacks with Cursed Set. Really good character. Definitely one of the hardest hitting nukers in this game. There's not many single target nukers that are even mentioned or worth mentioning in this game at the moment. So the fact that she's talked about is a really good sign that she's a good hero. Next, let's go to the Titan Icelands. And we got a few characters here. A lot of these are all tanky characters. In the beginning, Rickard, a lot of people are using him. He seems to be falling out of favor. I think the no-brainer pick here is going to be Hakron, because he makes everyone better. And it's this trait here where it grants a team-wide defensive bonus equal to 10% of this character's defense rating. He has S tier defense. A lot of people, I haven't seen people at like 4K defense, and I haven't really been gearing him too much. I get in like the 3.5 range of my defense, but 10% of that is going to everyone else. So everyone else gets so much tankier. and a lot of people have him fully ascended. So grants a team-wide defense bonus equal to 20% of this character's defense rating. So really good there. He's also giving everyone else max health up. That's permanent, up to 3 stacks. It's permanent until they die. Really good there in being able to make people even more survivable. And then lastly, he has this hard-hitting taunt here where, because it's 100% damage, but it scales with character's defense. And obviously he has insane defense. So this move here hits like a truck. So really good hero, used in a ton of content. Definitely worth investing into. I talked about him a lot. I think a lot of people talk about him a lot just because he's so good. And then in this faction, I think this one's the no-brainer. Nathalia, another hero that people talk about an absolute ton. We have the 200% damage to an enemy. If the enemy is killed, this ability's cooldown is reset. So I think she's the best nuker in the game overall. There's some situations where I would say Euron is going to be better, but overall, she's an epic hero that is the best AoE nuker. And how she becomes an AoE nuker is her passive here. So for every positive effect this character has, their abilities affect 1 extra enemy. If she has 4 positive effects, it affects all enemies. So you'd think that getting 4 positive effects is pretty hard. Also, when she's ascended, it only takes 2 ascend. She gets 40% more damage, so 10% per buff. It's this passive here where it applies attack up and immune if this character has a buff by positive effect at the start of the turn. So that combination there makes it very easy to get her at the 4 buff mark. So she's doing not only 40% more damage, but she's AoEing with all of her moves. So easily the best nuker in my opinion. She just takes setup. There's other situations based on affinity, because affinity bonus is just so good in this game that you're going to want to use the other nukers. So you're going to want to have a wide roster in this game. But if you can use Nathalia, for the most part, you're probably going to want to use her. If I had to pick another hero I would max here, I'd probably go with Borden. He ended up just getting buffed, so he has stealth at the beginning of the round. Grants stealth at the start of battle for 1 turn. But he has a really cool effect here. So he's doing the ultimate, deals 200% damage to an enemy. Damage scales with the amount of health lost by the enemy. So he's, and this ability ignores the target's invincible, death immunity, and guard effects. So it pretty much the whole point of him is to just, you have someone else nuke, and then he goes in and cleans up, because he has this passive where it grants an ability cooldown reset and an immediate bonus turn when the enemy's health falls below 50%. Ability may only be triggered once per 4 turns. Grants stealth at the start of battle for 1 turn. So he's essentially designed as an arena offense character. He's going to be really good at getting out those Methasias ASAP. Try to nuke, you drop the Methasia to 50%. He ends up going, kills them. Also, it's kind of nice that he has stealth at the beginning of the round, so you don't have to worry about him getting hit. Kind of like a Jacob, but only for 1 turn. Figured I would give an extra one there because Nathalia is just so prevalent. The whole point of this is to have kind of fun, talking about other heroes that you not necessarily might be able to talk about, but then Nathalia and then Hakron, kind of hard to talk about the other heroes when they're just so good in these factions. And then next, out of these two, pretty much a no-brainer. This is the last faction here. Gonna be Zatlux. This is probably gonna be the core of almost everyone's account. Scales super well. He has this. He's essentially an AoE nuker by doing it single target. So deals 200% damage to enemy plus bonus damage. The fewer the enemies remaining, the higher the bonus damage dealt. If this ability kills the target, then launches a bonus attack against the enemy with the lowest health. So you literally just use them to kill someone, and if you can kill him, he kills the next one, he kills the next one, kills the next one. So really good hero, definitely worth maxing. Every account gets them by going here, and what you got to do is these things here. Let me get out of the way. And you get the defeat 200 bosses, battle in arena 200 times, own a 6-star hero, and obtain 50 items of 5-star gear. So very easy requirements here. You get them at the beginning, probably beginning of mid game, or you can even still consider that early game when you get him. And he's going to be a big foundation for your account in combination with the character you chose from your rookie summit. So, or Nathalia, which is probably going to be the go-to pick for your rookie summon anyway. That's going to be the list here. That's all the epics of each faction. There's only 8 factions at the moment, 8 epics here, couple bonus ones. Let me know in the comments below if you agree, disagree, or if there's any other heroes that you would have chosen to max out of these factions. I'd love to hear from you guys. It's really fun to be able to hear everyone else's experiences, because I feel like when you actually play the hero, there's little things you learn that you won't pick up by just, you know, kind of theory crafting. So it's always fun to hear it, because there's only so much time in a day. I can't actually use all these heroes like you guys can. So with that, guys, I am out. Peace.